Welcome to Autism in Black Live. We are rooted in advocacy, not fear, rooted in truth, not stigma. Here, we center Black autistic voices, uplift Black families, and build spaces that are affirming, unapologetic, and full of joy. Whether you are a parent, professional, or autistic adult, this is your space. Together, we break down barriers and build up community. So grab your seat at the table. We're just getting started. Welcome, sweet, beautiful people. It is Friday. We are getting ready for our Vision to Venue episode 6. We are doing our weekly recap. Yes, I am Maria Davis-Pierre. I am the CEO and founder of Autism in Black. And my better half over there is...
What's going on, AIB community and friends? Yours truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, the co-founder of Autism in Black.
Yes, so we are doing our weekly recap and our Q&A portion of our Vision to Venue series that will be happening Monday through Fridays, and every day we have a designated topic of what we discuss, and our Fridays are our weekly recap. So just to talk about some of the stuff that we talked about this week before we get into the Q&A portion.
So first of all, before we start,
yes,
right, this will be the highlight to what we actually talked about this week. This episode is not live, but we do have the series going on our YouTube page, and we need them YouTube subscribers. Earlier this week, we put a call out and said, hey, we want 1,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of this series, which ends April
16th.
16th. Right now, we are currently at 571, right?
Ooh.
So shout out to y'all who have since subscribed since we first put the call out. We appreciate y'all. If you are on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe. Even if you don't go to YouTube like that, go ahead, subscribe, so we can get them subscribers and them watch hours up.
Exactly. Thank you all for that, because we started this week at 559 and now we're ending it at 571. So thank you all for subscribing and liking and sharing. We appreciate that. As Dr. Barry said, even though it is saying we are live, we have pre-recorded this, so we are not currently live. You will know when we are actually doing our Vision to Venue series live at that time that it is playing. So yeah, we did kick off the first episode of the week talking about the foundation of Autism in Black and the history behind why we started, how we got to where we are. What else did we talk about on
looking at this?
I gotta search my notes, y'all, because I'd be a little off sometimes.
Obviously, marketing. We highlighted the team.
Yes.
That was a good one. Kind of highlighting the team from that standpoint. We actually went into a little depth on how we even get to the point where we're getting speakers.
Yes, that was a good episode too, talking about all of our contracts and in intricacies of the contracts and our process and proposals. So yeah, it's been a good informational week with the Vision to Venue series. So if you haven't seen all of our episodes or you missed an episode this week, go to our YouTube page, Autism in Black YouTube page, catch up on the episodes you missed. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments of those videos that you're watching, and every Friday we will be addressing those questions. Do you have anything to say before we get into our question portion, husband?
No, I just want to shout out to everyone who, like I said, this is kind of the brainchild. So we said, as we're leading up to the conference, we don't want it to be a surprise, one, that we're having a conference, and two, we want to give people a little bit of behind the scenes on what it takes to get to that point, right? So this is that. Again, we appreciate all of the love that we get. I know IG and Facebook be showing out. Shout out to Team YouTube over here as well too. So appreciate y'all.
Exactly. Our conference, our 6th annual conference, is April 17th through the 19th. You can join us in person here in West Palm Beach, Florida, or virtually from anywhere that you are comfortable to do so. You can go to the link that is scrolling across the screen, and you can check out our different ticket types and secure your ticket, because we do want to see you April 17th through the 19th for our 6th annual conference, because now more than ever, we need that rooted in healing theme that we are doing. So,
and if this is your first time, catching anything AIB related, you can actually go to the site, www.autismblack.org. We got all the information over there. You can buy a ticket over there as well too. We got plenty of areas to get your ticket. Get them now. Before the prices raise, right? Because y'all know, prices raise when we get close to the conference. So might as well hit them now, especially if you plan on coming to Florida, which we got a good question about that later on today. If you plan on coming to Florida, get your tickets, get your hotel room, get all that thing stitched up, tied up, quick, fast, and hurt.
Exactly. With that, we'll start off with our questions. We got some good questions. And our first one, I think, is a very good question, especially with what has been transpiring today. So our first question is, how do you balance, and this is from Jaren and Serena, I hope I'm saying your names right, and over at the Calm Kit, they wrote, how do you balance being unapologetically pro-Black without people misinterpreting it as anti-others, especially in diverse areas? This is a very good question, one that we address, I think, almost every time that we throw an event or are doing something. It's very obvious the name of our business is Autism in Black. It's very obvious who we center in our messaging, who we center in our, education, all of the curriculum that we do. We center Black people. And that has not changed, will not change, and it's what it's going to be. But we do get this question a lot because people think that because we are pro-Black and center the lived experience of Black individuals, Black disabled individuals, that we are not inviting other people, and that's furthest from the truth. Our space will always be a safe space for Black people and those who choose to come. And we've said this time and time again, that we want people who are not Black to attend our events, because how do we expect you guys to not continue to harm our community if you're not coming to spaces to learn how to bridge that gap with our community? How are you going to know how to treat Black autistic people? How are you going to know how to build that rapport with Black autistic people? How are you going to know all those things if you're not listening to us? So our spaces are always welcoming, and that is the messaging that we actually speak about in a lot of our things, because we do constantly get that question of, I'm white, can I come? I'm Hispanic, it's kind of similar, can I come? And the answer is always yes. And we let everybody know, we invite everybody to the space, but our messaging remains clear, and that is centering Black people. As far as people misinterpreting it, that's just gonna be on them. We're very clear about who we are and what we do, and there's still gonna be ignorant people who will misinterpret what we're saying and choose to say what they think they're hearing. Like Dr. Berry has said, we'll say, we like waffles, and somebody will be like, oh, well, I hate waffles, so why are you talking about waffles, type of deal, right? Or I'm not particularly fond of cheese, and they're, oh gosh, why are you telling everybody to hate cheese? No, That's not what we're saying, right? It's very clear. Our messaging centers Black lived experience, and that will be forever as long as Autism in Black is around. But everybody is welcome. Do you want to add on?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things, especially when we kind of embarked on just the organization, kind of goes to the history in and of itself, right? Where I was having, when I said, we should start this organization, right? Maria doesn't like to give me the credit, right?
If you're gonna tell the story, let's
Yeah.
tell the story right. Let's
So
not. No. We're not gonna
when,
do
when
that
she when
today.
she
Not
wanted to start the
not during
organization,
Black
that
History
was
Month
that was
here.
some of her apprehension, right? That like, all right, if we do this organization, I don't want to feel like I'm alienating, right? Like it was gonna be like an autism and like multicultural
Yeah.
something, right? Like I killed it. Thankfully, I killed that idea, and I said, nope, we are autism and Black, right?
You
Like
did
I
not
killed
come
it,
up with the name,
right?
so please stop.
So, anyways, right, now that I can continue speaking, right? So I come up with the name, right, and I say, hey, we're gonna be Autism Black, right? But historically, what happens is when we go into other organizations that never have to announce who they're centering, it's because we all know who they're centering,
Exactly.
right? Like we all know who they're centering, so we never actually have to say who they're centering, and they never have to say who they're centering. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have an organization that does turn around and say, hey, I am the National Association, that's kind of our code word for the Black version. Or I'm Autism in Black, right? It's because we have to like let folks know, like, hey, this ain't like that type of organization. We're actually
Mm-hmm.
centering the Black story, the Black individual, the Black mother, the Black child, the Black father, right? The Black son. Like we're actually centering them.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, we never feel like we can't go to the other orgs and the other conferences and the other meetings because they're not centering us. We just know, like, all right, I got to learn what's happening over here too. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we never want to feel, never want people to feel like they can't now turn around and come to ours because we're happen to be centering Black folks right now. Of course, obviously, right now in this time of age and this administration, people actually are getting penalized for it. Right? Shout out to Tarjay, right? That got penalized for taking away programs. Right? All these organizations that get penalized, right? And again, I'm not mad that they had to get penalized, right? Because when you got an administration who is literally going to say, "I'm going to take away your financial well-being if you try to center them," right? Because that's how they consider
Mm-hmm.
others. I know from a business perspective why he would do that. But we understood from a business perspective why we got no problem saying this is the Blacks, right? This is for the Blacks, right? We got no problem saying that because we know that we're going to lose, right? We know that, yep, we may not get that sponsorship over there, right? We may not get that, a speech therapist to come. We may not get that organization to come and see us because we happen to, but we're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
We were in this organization, TSP, and he talks about like, a lot of times, especially for Black folks, you got to take care of your own, right? No
Mm-hmm.
one's coming to save you, right? You got to save yourselves. So we understand that like that's just kind of the role that we play, and we fully embrace it. And like I said, we fully deal with some of the same concerns that other
Yeah.
organizations or other content creators may face when they may want. I know some content creators who don't even want to put their face on their product because they don't want that association, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're Fortunately for us, we don't shy away from that, and our
No.
name won't allow it, anyways.
Exactly. And then, like Dr. Berry was saying, during this horrible administration that we're under, where they are blatantly racist, I mean, we already knew who that man was, but, for some of you who needed extra proof of what he did today in regards to former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle, we knew that during this administration more than ever, we were going to have to step our game up in a different way in funding our organization because we are so unapologetically Black. And I am not shying away from that. And I will not tone it down as some big organizations have asked us to not be so Black. We knew that we wouldn't be getting some of that funding and things right now because there is such a spotlight on what they consider to be DEI, and in their eyes, DEI is anything Black, when it's so much more than that. When your name is, every part of your name is included on that DEI list that he does not want anybody to fund, we already knew kind of what we were going to be dealing with for the next total of 4 years, but 3 years now that we're a year into this. So we knew that we were going to have to pivot. And I think for those of us who have organizations and businesses that are unapologetically Black, we have to learn to do a pivot maneuver for now. Hopefully, once this administration is out of office, things can go back to having that support. But like Dr. Berry says, we have to really focus on supporting our community. And that's why we were never going to tone it down when we were asked, because we knew that we are needed and we know that our community needs us. And why are we going to tone that down just for the sake of making them feel more comfortable? No, that's not going to happen, because we are going to feel comfortable in our spaces.
Yep.
So that is that question. The next question we have is, why do you continue to have your in-person portion of your conference in Florida? Florida is a blah, 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 insert whatever into that. We've gotten this several times last year and this year. And I think that a lot of you all don't know that we live in Florida.
Yeah. That, honestly, it's not a very difficult thing. Like, we just happen to live here. Yeah, we just live here. Right. If we were in Mississippi, it'd be in Mississippi. Right. If we were in California, it'd be like, we just happen to live here. Yeah, we just happen to live here.
We live in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Right. Okay. Like, I promise you, it's not the state we would choose. Yeah. To go away and do something, even though we know it's a good vacation spot, right? Y'all bring out families, y'all go to Disney at the same. Like, we know it's a good vacation spot, but yeah, we just happen to live in Florida, y'all.
We live in Florida. We live 15 minutes from the location of where we have it. For those of you who've done events or anything, you know that it is easier to host an event in the city that you're from, because imagine trying to get everything that is encompassing in making that vision to venue happen and doing it in a state that you are not in. So we live in Florida. We live in West Palm Beach. We are not just choosing it because, people want to come vacation. No, we're from here. So that's why we have the conference here. But we know that down the line, we are incorporating pop-ups into what we do. Now, the annual main big event will always happen here in Florida, but we will be doing pop-ups in different states. I'm sure you've seen it on our social media, and if you're on our email list, where we've asked people where you want us to come and do a pop-up stop at, and we have been strategizing behind the scenes and taking a list of those states and cities. So yes, we do our main conference here because we live in this city, but we will be doing pop-ups around the other states as well.
Yep.
All right. Then I did get a question on my stance on ABA. And sometimes I'd be feeling like this is like a setup question for people like, oh, where does she stand and how's she feeling, so we can get a gotcha moment with her. No gotcha moment over here. I am very clear. I've stated it many times that when it comes to Black people, we have to navigate things much differently. I think that when people talk about ABA, they don't realize that for Black people, there is harm in most every profession. Okay, so there's harm in our children going to school. So the educators and teachers have harmed our Black children, right? As a mental health therapist, I see how there has been harm on clients. In the medical field, we all know that research regarding Black bodies and Black health and maternal health. So for me, I am very strong on the stance that it just doesn't have to particularly be ABA that is harmful to individuals. It could be any profession that is harmful. What I stand on is if that person is being ethical, if that person is understanding lived experience in their therapy practice. I also know that with Black children and Black parents, a lot of times there is a force of you have to do ABA. There's schools and there's daycares that are like, we can't take your child unless they're getting ABA. And not everybody has the privilege to be like, oh, I'll just go find something else. I'll go do something else. They have to do, what they have to do. And I'm not going to sit and bash Black people for doing what they have to do to survive. Because we want to move, even though we're trying to move from surviving to thriving, there is a period where we do have to sometimes do things to survive. So I'm all about Black parents making the decisions that they need to make for their households, because I'm going to make the decision I need to make for my household. And if that decision that they choose to do is ABA, then that's their decision. We have curriculums and trainings around how to ensure you are choosing a ABA practitioner that is not going to be harmful to your child, what to look for, what questions to ask. You can always hire and fire a professional in any profession, your doctors, your therapists, whatever, what have you. So we do safeguards around trying to make sure that it is as safe as possible. I think other people also don't realize that essentially the world is ABA for Black people. We're constantly policed and regarding and how we have to act in society, hence code switching, right? Just to make sure that we come home safe at night. And I think people don't realize that, or they have a privilege to separate when a lot of times we don't have that privilege. My first and foremost thought is always for my kids, myself, and my husband to make it home every night safely. And we have to make decisions around that a lot of times. So it's what is going to be the least amount of harm that we will have done to us. And if that means that somebody has to do ABA therapy, or somebody has to code switch in that manner, or somebody has to do mask in that manner, then we have to do what we have to do to make sure that we are still alive at the end of the day. And that's why intersectionality and conversations around being Black and disabled need to happen, because people don't understand there are so many decisions that go on every day for Black people. So that is where I always stand with that ABA question. I've talked about it on our podcast. I talk about it at any event that we do, because it is a reoccurring question that we have. So do what you need to do for your Black household is where I stand on that.
Okay.
Then I think that was all the questions, but we did get a comment about being thankful for having insight into how a neurodivergent business owner runs. And I just wanted to highlight that because I know a lot of times when we see people talk about business, it is from a neurotypical standpoint. People do not understand the nuances of what it is to be a neurodivergent business owner. Dr. Barry and I have this discussion all the time, because his mind works completely different. How he strategizes, how he is able to do things is completely different than I am, because I am neurodivergent. So we have this conversation all the time, and we have, built in a lot of accommodations so that my health and how I operate come first and foremost. So I am always happy when other neurodivergent business owners can relate, because there are times where, we don't have the capacity to do certain things, or that perfectionism holds us from putting something out there. So I am happy that this Vision to Venue series is giving you some of that insight to know that it is still possible for us. We can still have our businesses, still be out there, having people hear our voices, and still stay true to also making sure that we are taking care of self, because I wouldn't be a therapist if I didn't mention self-care is so important. So thank you for watching and saying that, because I appreciated that comment.
Indeed, right? Especially as a neurotypical, it's always an interesting.
Neurotypical, but you guys know where I stand on that with Dr. Berry. He just is not officially diagnosed.
To be on the outside looking in on certain business matters, right? Like, again, like I said, because and I just work with it well. Obviously I got to. All right, got no choice, y'all know that. And I think being a physician obviously helps, right? Or at least a good one. When you're a good physician, you can kind of recognize how to work with people who have just different idiosyncrasies on how they do things, right? And recognizing that there's always going to be a push and pull, what they want, what they don't want, comfort level, non-comfort level, and kind of recognizing when it's good to push them past the comfort level versus when it's good to kind of like, all right, let's wait till they are ready for the steps, right? So it's definitely a good sight to see. And like I said, I appreciate, especially when we see a lot of the neurodivergent, organizations and business leaders and content creators who reach out to us. It's always been a nice little thing, like, all right, yep, we're doing it, right? Especially obviously with a daughter and a son. I guess 2 daughters and a son who are neurodivergent, but 2 who are autistic. It's what I love it, right? And one of the things that that's been told to me time and time again, especially with the conferences, is especially when they see the adults, right, who are speakers, right, who are autistic, right, now they get to say like, oh, okay, all right, so my daughter can be like this, right, my son can be like this, like, oh, okay, like now they get to envision a different picture because they didn't have the appropriate picture of what it would look like when their kids grow up, right? For them, it's just it's a cloud. They don't know what it is like. They're just trying to go day to day. But now they see, that person who has a doctorate in this and a doctorate in that, and they own their own business, and they also happen to be.
Sorry about that technical difficulty. We had a little technical glitch, but we are back and we're putting together our parts 1 and part 2 of this. So we left off saying thank you for that individual who said they appreciated the insight into the neurodivergent business owners. So thank you for that. We always love to see those type of messages because it lets us know that we're on the right track, and it's so important to share this side because not a lot of people talk about that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and I think obviously with the end of the recap, again, if you missed any episode this week, head over to the YouTube page, which you should be a subscriber. Make sure you like and subscribe every video you see over there. We got our podcast episodes over there as well too. So if you haven't listened to a recent podcast episode, do that. But definitely got to make sure you do it as a subscriber. Catch this week's episodes, and again, we will look forward to talking with y'all again next week.
Exactly, because we did drop a new podcast episode today, which is a really good one. So watch that, catch up on all of those. And we got some great things in store next week because, as we have been saying, we got some things that we're doing for the conference this weekend. So maybe we will record some behind the scenes of that and put it in some of the clips for next week. We'll see what Dr. Berry's tech magic will do. But enjoy your weekend, my Black people. Stay safe. Keep your mental health up because there's a lot of nonsense that's being spewed. So make sure you're keeping your mental health safe because it is wild out here right now. So what you guys say about that, Dr.?
Yeah, again, it's a different time. It's a different time. You got the president using official language, official channels to do things. Department of Health guy doing. I mean, it's just we're under attack, low key. And just so it's good to go into the weekend with some sanity. Keep your sanity, and we'll get back here on Monday, y'all.
Exactly. So stay safe, my Black people. Know that we love you and we're right here in the fight with you. And until Monday's episode 8 of Vision to Venue series, have a great weekend, and we'll see you 6 o'clock Monday right here. Have a good one.